This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking news this midday, 2 women are taking Metro Police to court. Their violent arrests coming near the end of the protest against police brutality late last month. Good afternoon, I'm Lauren Casey. The federal lawsuit was filed today, and it comes after the Marion County Prosecutor's Office declined to file charges against the officers. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live downtown with more on the reason why those women are going to court. Alyssa.
Good afternoon, Lauren. This stems from an incident that happened towards the end of a peaceful protest on May 31st. And really, this incident didn't catch much attention until video of what happened went viral earlier this month. Ivory Westfield and Rachel Harding say in the lawsuit they were walking toward Harding's vehicle after a protest because Harding had agreed to give Westfield a ride. That's when IMPD officers told the women they were under arrest for violating the 8 p.m. curfew imposed by Mayor Joe Hogsett. The lawsuit says the officer arresting Westfield became aggressive and forced her arms into an unnatural position, causing her pain. When she pulled away from the officer, Westfield was shot with pepper balls at close range and repeatedly hit with batons. When Rachel Harding tried to intervene, she was pushed to the ground by another officer. RTV6 spoke with Harding about the incident 3 weeks ago.
She told the officers multiple times that she was sorry. You can hear her in the video. She can't breathe. She's apologetic. She's telling them that she has defecated on herself. She's urinated on herself because of the amount of force that she was met with.
The officers involved were taken off patrol duty while an investigation took place, but the Marion County Prosecutor's Office declined to file criminal charges against the officers. The lawsuit also says IMPD is refusing to release the names of the officers involved, and we did reach out to IMPD. They referred us to the city's Office of Corporation Counsel, and that counsel gave us a statement as well. They said, out of respect for the judicial process, we do not comment on pending litigation. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. We do want to take a turn right now to our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home this midday. And Todd, it's going to be a hot, sticky one for anyone who's trying to get outside, maybe enjoy their lunch hour.
Yeah, look at these temperatures already, Lauren. We're climbing into the 80s in almost all locations. 179 there in Greenfield, but Indianapolis up to 84 degrees, 85 in Greencastle as well as Bloomington. And this is only the noon hour. Now, as we continue throughout the afternoon hours, we are going to start to build in a little more in the way of cloud cover, but you can see hazy sunshine out there still. And the additional cloud cover will probably cap these temperatures right around 90 degrees, but that still is really, really hot. Now, as we go throughout the afternoon hours, not only do we build the clouds in, we'll build chances for showers and storms into the forecast. And just north of Lafayette there, if you look really close, you can see 1 or 2 little speckles of green. But as we work our way into the afternoon hours, we'll see these isolated downpours and thunderstorms start to flare up. While we're not expecting any severe weather, we are expecting heavy downpours, some lightning, and maybe some gusty winds within some of these cells as they make their way through the area. As you see on TrueCast, we'll deal with them this afternoon and even into the evening hours. So if you do have plans today, make sure you do have the umbrella handy, and these won't stick around very long, so you could find some shelter and then you should be in pretty good shape going forward. But again, high temperatures today, right around 90 degrees. That humidity, Lauren, going to make it feel closer to 95 to 98 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We are learning more today about what led to the shooting death of a 14-year-old near the downtown canal. This happened overnight, and this all started when police were called in around 2 this morning to an area on Walnut Street near Senate. Officers now tell us that Curtis White Jr. was trying to rob a man when the man pulled out his own gun and shot the teenager. White later died at the hospital, and police tell us the man who fired the shots remained on the scene there and is cooperating with this investigation. Officers say they are also studying video from the area for any potential evidence. Friends and family continue to mourn the loss of a teen after a car drove into a pond over the weekend. This happened Saturday on Ash Tree Drive near Shelbyville and East Stop 11 Road on the southeast side. 16-year-old Ella Magyar died at the hospital after she was pulled from the submerged car by an IMPD officer, Jared Allen. The teen boy was also pulled from the car by the officer, and he remains in critical condition. 2 other teens inside the car managed to get out to safety. All 4 teens were students at Franklin Central High School. That school issued this statement on Facebook. They say, quote, "Together we can work through this. Together we can honor Ella's memory and help our flashes that are still hospitalized," end quote. The school is also encouraging students to use mental health and counseling resources that are available to them. Breaking this midday, state regulators have shot down a request from the Indiana utility companies that could have led to higher bills for customers. Back in May, Indianapolis Power and Light and Duke Energy and some other utilities had asked for permission to charge ratepayers extra to help make up for lost revenue during the COVID-19 pandemic. But today, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission ruled that they were not allowed to do so. The commission said that they would amount to the utilities charging customers for the services they did not receive. The commission also ruled that the state should extend the current moratorium on the disconnection suspensions for another 45 days until August 14th. That moratorium had been set to expire after tomorrow. New numbers on COVID-19 are just in from the state health department. It's another day of numbers that are encouraging. Only 5 new deaths were reported by the state, along with 312 new coronavirus cases. In addition, the number of open intensive care unit beds at hospitals are going up, which the state says is encouraging. The health department says ICU capacity is now back above 40%. Well, it's a ruling that surprised a lot of people. Next, the Supreme Court with a significant ruling in a closely watched case on abortion law. Todd.
And Lauren, it's been a warm and muggy morning across central Indiana. Now as we're transitioning into the afternoon, we're going to keep the heat, we're going to keep the humidity around, and we're going to start to build storm chances in. That'll continue all the way into the evening hours as well. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
Bachelor's Greatest Seasons, new ABC tonight.
New this midday, a ruling on an abortion case that surprised some who have been watching the court closely. Today, the court overturned a controversial law in Louisiana that would have forced most of the state's abortion clinics to close. ABC's Andrew Dimbert tells us it was seen as a direct challenge to the Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion.
The Supreme Court with a major ruling on abortion this morning, striking down a Louisiana law that abortion rights advocates say restricted access to abortions. The justices were split on the case 5-4, with Chief Justice John Roberts once again the deciding factor in the landmark ruling, siding with the more liberal justices on the bench. The case was a challenge to a Louisiana law that required abortion providers to have admitting privileges with a nearby hospital. Those required privileges would allow a patient to go to a hospital if they needed urgent care. But abortion providers argued this was an unnecessary requirement unrelated to health outcomes and only served to prevent them from being able to provide abortion services. A narrow majority on the court agreed, striking down the restrictions, and the decision reaffirms abortion rights in the country. The case is widely seen as the most significant abortion rights case since Roe v. Wade. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Well, hunger was already a major problem in central Indiana, and now it's at crisis levels, and that's due to the pandemic. Next, how one agency is working hard to put food on tables and how they need your help. Let's take a live look outside right now. Over the Circle City, you can see some clouds out there. We know it is steamy, so we're going to have Todd Clausen's full forecast coming up and look ahead to your holiday weekend. That's all right here on the news at noon on RTV6. Stay with us.
4956.
Welcome back. A number of groups are coming together to stamp out hunger despite challenges brought on by the pandemic. Our Troy Washington has some of the solutions that they've come up with.
We really pivoted. Our usual way of doing things is that we were sending free meals to congregate meal sites. So shelters, after-school programs, faith-based programs, boys and girls clubs, things like that. But now, sharing a meal together isn't a good idea. So we have started packaging individual meals, a family pack of meals, 4 meals together, sandwiches. We are making over 5,000 sandwiches a day.
Right now, Second Helpings is relying on a new normal to continue putting food on the tables of Hoosier families, since it's a fact that 1 in 6 families struggle with food insecurity.
And we've gotten to hear more of the stories, especially with the home delivery. People that we had a feeling that were out there but weren't sure how to serve. So the disabled people that can't cook, or the people that only have a microwave or only have a stovetop. And, we've started asking questions that you would never think you would ask somebody.
Norris Bisnoggle says though the style of serving has evolved, it's allowed the organization to really get to know each family and their specific needs. It's also opened other doors.
We weren't getting the food from the caterers and the big parties. Sadly, there have been, I think it's 12 now, restaurants that have closed during this COVID time that were generous enough to open their freezer doors to us and refrigerators and their dry goods and things that we have rescued all of that.
Aside from food rescue, other outlets have stepped in to help out.
Wholesalers that were selling to the grocery stores, had excess food. The Department of Education purchases food for the whole school year. They knew that they wouldn't need that food that we've gotten. The USDA has done a program with farmers where they're buying commodities.
So while the pandemic may have changed things, it's certainly not slowing things down when it comes to making sure food is on the table and stomachs stay full. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. Well, food banks across central Indiana have a critical need for supplies. Gleaner's Food Bank is serving more than twice as many insecure families. In order to meet the level of need for the COVID-19 family box distribution model, they need a minimum of $500,000 in weekly donations. The CEO says buying food costs 8 times the amount as the same period last year due to the severely disrupted food sourcing supply chain. He also says the economic recovery for Hoosier households that Gleaner serves will likely last 2 years or more.
There's always a need to feed families, and we don't want anybody ever to go hungry, but some of the economic impact, children not being in school and receiving those meals has definitely increased the need. And there was a lot of fear in the beginning too. There still is a lot of fear.
To help Hoosier families that rely on Gleaners, you can click on the Give tab on their website. Let's take a look right now at our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home. And Todd, I think this week in general would be a good idea to find somewhere where you can get in the water and cool off because it's going to be hot out there.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole entire week is going to be at least 85 degrees or warmer, Lauren. We're going to have a lot of humidity this week as well. The one thing you do have to watch out for, though, is some thunderstorms. If you are going to be heading to a pool or a body of water here across central Indiana, while we're not really expecting much in the way of severe weather, we are expecting thunderstorms, which obviously contains lightning, and that's what makes every thunderstorm dangerous. So if you are at a pool or body of water, make sure you go indoors and seek shelter if you hear the thunder or see the lightning. Here's the view from downtown to the north, starting to build in a little more in the way of cloud cover across the area, but the dew points are going to remain in the 70s. And the dew point is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere, and you can see we were in the 70s. That's a very uncomfortable level to be in. You want these numbers to be in the 50s, and that's why the humidity is really not going to change much throughout the course of the remainder of the day. There's no front coming through or anything like that. That's going to push the humidity out of our area. So radar is quiet right now for the most part. There's one little tiny shower up there in northwest Indiana, but as we expand out, you notice there's quite a bit going on. We have clouds moving into central Indiana. We have some storms up near Minneapolis. There's some isolated downpours near St. Louis. As we continue to work through the afternoon hours and we get into the peak heating and high temperatures get close to 90 degrees, we're going to manufacture some storms. They're just going to kind of build on their own. Don't think of a line of storms coming through or us inheriting a lot of storms. They're just going to kind of blossom across the area. Probably won't stick around long in your neighborhood, so that's why you just need to keep an eye to the sky. You definitely don't need to cancel any outdoor plans because of these storm chances, because they'll be pretty spotty in nature and kind of feast or famine. It's either going to rain heavy or probably not much at all. And they'll continue, though, throughout the evening hours and even into the overnight hours. So at some point throughout the next couple days, you're likely going to get a little water in your backyard. 85 in Muncie right now, as well as Bloomington and Greencastle, 86 in Lafayette. Indy's at 84 at 12:19 in the afternoon. We're starting to build in a little bit of that cloud cover, so that'll prevent the temperatures from soaring into the low to mid 90s. But most of us do get up to right around 90 degrees this afternoon. And with the humidity, it's going to make it feel more like it's about 95 to 98 degrees. For tomorrow, 86 degrees, more storms primarily in the afternoon hours. Wednesday, 85 degrees, scattered storms, very humid conditions as well. And then Thursday, more of the same, 87 to about 90 degrees with humid conditions and thunderstorms in the afternoon. But as we get into the 4th of July weekend, that's when some changes are going to start to occur. Not so much temperature-wise, it's still in the mid-80s, but the humidity will come down just a little bit. And the storm chances for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are only about 20%. That's a spot storm here or there. So carry on with any of your outdoor plans to kind of compare it. Storm chances the next couple days in that 60 to 70% category. So rain chances do come way down just in time for the holiday weekend, but it's going to feel very summer-like, Lauren, as those temperatures will be approaching 90 degrees and with the humidity most likely into the low 90s for those plans that you may have if you're camping or barbecuing or heading to some of the fireworks celebrations here across central Indiana.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Well, with tens of thousands of people unemployed right now, some people are getting jobs doing some freelance work. But there's a website that promises to help businesses find those freelancers, and instead they're giving them a lot of headaches and also some empty bank accounts. Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau has more on what you should watch out for.
You know, today on the internet, you can get all kinds of services, all kinds of freelancers out there. And some of them are actually very good, and you can get some great work for some pretty reasonable prices. I know BBB has used some of those services before and, you know, have gotten some really good products and some really good work from that. But there are people out there who are scamming, and here's how it works. There's going to be a website out there that says, hey, they can do some sort of freelance, maybe graphic artwork for you or build a website for you, something like that, at just really incredible rates, you know, just rates that are far, far, far below the market value. So what you're going to do is typically with these online sorts of freelance services is there's an upfront fee that you've got to pay, sort of a deposit in order to get the work going. So you go ahead and deposit, give them the deposit, and you'll pretty soon find out that, hey, no one's doing the work. You aren't getting any, information from these people. There's no work product that comes out of it, and you've just spent some money. And all of a sudden, you know, when you try to contact them, they don't contact you back. So just be very, very careful on some of these internet freelance service providers. Some of them are very good. We've had luck with some of them, but there are some that are just scams out there. They're going to want you to pay money up front, put a deposit, and then you're not going to get anything for it. So it's just like these websites where they advertise things at low prices. You pay your money, you don't get it. In this case, you don't get the service that they said that they were going to provide.
Tim, thank you. You can find more about this scam online by visiting bbb.org. Still ahead here on the news at noon, it's been a staple of graduation parties and other celebrations, but now it's the latest victim of the pandemic. We'll tell you what it is coming up next. Stay with us. You're watching RTV6.
A Stone Company right now.
Welcome back. The pandemic is causing a lot of turmoil in the retail industry, and the latest victim is Costco's famous sheet cakes. Oh no, Costco has eliminated the iconic half-sheet cakes that have been the centerpiece of graduation and birthday parties. Costco quietly stopped selling the $20 half-sheet cakes across its U.S. stores over the past month. Instead, the Costco bakery is pointing customers towards its 10-inch round cakes as a substitute. The decision also coincides with a recommendation from health experts to avoid large gatherings to stop spread COVID-19. Oh man, Todd, those are a staple of our family gatherings. My sister even had a Costco wedding cake because they're so good. That bums me out.
I know, it's good. I know. All right. Well, things will change. We'll get that. We'll get back to normal here eventually, hopefully. All right. Here's your 7-day planning forecast. 90 today with a lot of humidity around, and the chance of a few spotty storms here this afternoon. Nothing severe, but locally heavy rainfall and lightning. Storm chances continue primarily in the afternoon hours the next couple days. By the time we get to the holiday weekend, still hot, 88 straight through the weekend with just about a 20% chance of a storm Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Lauren.
Todd, thanks, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. Have a great Monday.